Hi, and welcome to my first Inktober 2023 video. This year I'm going to try to use ink washes only after seeing the amazing comic book artwork of artists like Matteo Scalera, a very talented Italian artist. I've picked a fairly chill, kind of an after the battle pose here for a bit of Wonder Woman fan art. And I've gone straight into inking with a G pen. Just blocking in some big shapes, getting a little bit of the facial expression in, kind of a weary after the battle kind of feel to it. I think these are some of the sketchiest lines I've put into a piece ever, but this whole thing was just supposed to be a quick 1 hour sketch, and that's exactly how long it took from start to finish. 1 p.m. to 2 p.m., just an hour. So I put all this detail into the chest piece, and as you'll see in a few minutes, I absolutely ruined it. This is one of the pieces of work I would actually say was a complete muck-up, but I think I rescued it at the end. Watching this play back at such high speed, I keep thinking that this should have the Benny Hill theme in the background. So it's about this point I start thinking about doing a bit of ink washing, getting in the big shadow shapes. Obviously, this is a streaming session that I've recorded and I've gone back over and talked over, mostly because I don't think you guys need to hear an hour of me chatting to my friend about his hunting license in rural Japan. So it's about this point I realized that the ink washes I had put out the night before had kind of gummed up a lot, and this was my, I want to say 25% ink to water ratio ink, and it was coming out far too thick. It's at this point I messed up because I kept going with this, and you'll see in a minute when I do a big ink wash that this was an absolute mistake. The secret to any bad art is, of course, drinking copious amounts of tea while you do it. Major muck up coming in 3, to... oh, it's here. This was like that moment of, I've messed it up this far, I really should just keep messing it up. Here I'm trying to dab a lot of the darker ink off to get some tonality back, to see the original illustration underneath, and from there I start pushing the blacks even harder, get a lot more contrast going, and hopefully save the piece. So as you can see, pushing the contrast darker starts to work. I start to see a bit more of the form coming in, well, coming back from what it was before. And I think at this point in the process, my mentality is just to get as much contrast back as possible. I dive into my cabinet of mysteries behind me and I pull out some white acrylic gouache, and I just start pushing in all of the lightest values I can to hopefully get some shape back in the face, get some femininity back in the lighting of the character. So my plan going through Inktober this year is going to be to live stream every illustration I make for 31 days, starting on Sunday, October 1st, with the prompt Dream. So I'm somewhere between Tidus from Final Fantasy X, the Morpheus character from the Sandman, or something else. Maybe a pin-up girl dreaming of a cocktail or something like that. But the plan is to do a live stream, and from the live stream also make a condensed video like this, probably with a little voiceover, just to talk through my mentality of what was happening while I was painting. Or is it painting if it's in ink? It's kind of a painting methodology, because obviously you're doing washes. Washes is painting, inking is drawing. Terminology for this is strange. Anyway, as you can see in the video, my Wonder Woman is starting to look a lot more wonderful, a lot less big smudge on the paper. Very gently trying to push this white gouache paint into the ink. It gives it an interesting texture because the gouache is it's a very different material, so it kind of gives this grainy texture that isn't from the paper and it isn't from the ink. It's just from the mixture of gouache and ink, kind of like it curdles. At this point, I'm pretty happy with the character illustration. I just want to add a bit of noise in the background, maybe a little shadow, just to like ground the character so they're not floating in a white space. And at this point, I'm kind of happy to abandon this piece of work. It's about an hour's worth of sketching and stuff. Thank you for watching.